Sorry about that, guys. Better late than ever. Welcome to the Saturday drop-in. Of course, it's the day where I'm running the station that just goes blip. Tom is away on holiday, so thank you very much for your patience whilst we looked into that. This is a Saturday drop-in. Basically, what happens is we come in, someone drops in for a quick chat, we play some games, and we have some fun as well. So make sure you are getting your requests in. It is studio@hhr.scots. Karen, it's been a while.
It's been a while since I've seen you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, just because obviously we don't do... Well, I'm pulling them a little bit back from Thursdays. I still do my Thursday show, but I'm not at live at 8 most times, so it's quite nice to get back on the hot seat with you.
We are listening into each other.
Exactly, we do.
I listen in the Saturday and you listen in the Thursday, because we had someone in on Thursday and you got in touch with me about the chat that we had with him. He was very good, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah, he was really, really good. So we have the lovely Susan in later on just now. What we're going to do is we're going to play some proper music instead of our relaxed chaos music that we were playing whilst trying to fix the station. We have got everything in by the Contender. And you are listening to the Saturday drop-in. You're in with Shannon and Karen today, and it's gone 15:15, which means that Guess the Year is up on our social media. Basically, we give you a ton of information about this year, and all you've got to do is guess it. The post is available on Facebook and Instagram. It is at Highland Hospital Radio. I'm very sorry, I forgot to put it up on Blue Sky this morning because I'm very much on it today. So, couple of things for Guess the Year. Music-wise, we have quite a good mix of music, I think. Definitely to sort of throw people out as well. You can see the year now.
Yeah.
You were close. You were close when we were chatting about it. We've got a lot of Take That. Simply Red also had a number one in this year. Michael Jackson with Earth Song was also a number one as well. Album releases, we're looking at Oasis with What's the Story, Morning Glory, and as well as some Pulp with Different Class and Blur with The Great Escape. Karen, what about TV? What was going on at this time?
I'm new shows here, and Susan, who's sitting next to me, although she's not going to be talking quite yet about what she's doing, she'll remember these shows as well. So, Father Ted, did you ever watch Father Ted?
No, it wasn't one of the...
It was a really popular show,
yeah.
set in Ireland, I think, yeah, beloved Irish sitcom. They got lots and lots of awards. The Thin Blue Line, a police comedy starring Rowan Atkinson. I never watched that. Did you watch that?
I watched some of that.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
I remember Rowan Atkinson from Not the 9 o'clock news. Then there was Chris Evans' TFI Friday, not to be missed. It was really, really good. And I was just saying earlier, I remember he used to have different musicians in, and they used to do sort of acoustic sets. And I remember the guy from Manic Street Preacher has been on that. Big TV moments, final episode of The House of Elliot. I think The House of Elliot was going for quite a while. My mum and my sister Brenda watched that. It was about clothes. Coronation Street celebrated its 35th anniversary, and BBC aired Pride and Prejudice starring Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy.
And, very, very good. I didn't know that they did a Pride and Prejudice before the film with, what was her name, Keira Knightley?
Oh, it was a really, really good series. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. It was great.
It was really good. You should go and have a look at it. It was brilliant.
I'll definitely do that. And in film, we're talking about British film releases. Golden Eye with Pierce Brosnan with his debut at 007. Sense and Sensibility, which starred Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet and Alan Rickman, who won multiple BAFTAs for this film. We've got stuff like Richard III came out as well, which was the modern take on Shakespeare's play, which starred Ian McKellen. We've got Braveheart as well. I didn't know this was so far back, I'll be honest with this one.
I have a story about this.
Oh, go on then.
Well, they were filming near Fort William.
Okay.
And we decided, my sister Brenda and her husband Hugh and the kids were up for the weekend, we decided that we would go and see where they were filming and maybe try and catch a glimpse of Mel Gibson.
All right.
And we went, and it was an absolutely boiling day. And Dan, my nephew, he wanted out just to get a bit of fresh air. He was in 3 or 4 at the time, and this old gentleman came past on his bike cycling, and Dad started chasing him, and we were all so hysterical.
Oh no!
This old man trying to get away from this wee 3-4-year-old running after him, and this old man went over the hill, and Dan's running up, and we just a bit to get back in the car and drive after them to actually catch up with Dan. Really, really bad parenting when you think about it, but it was just so. And Dan had taken off his top and was running along after this old man. We never did see Mel Gibson.
Oh dear.
We never did.
oh well, it was worth a shot, you know. So they are your news stories of that year, but all you have to do is guess the year. So we're going to be playing a couple of number ones from this year as well. We're going to start with a little bit of Take That. I love this song. This is Back for Good on your Saturday drop-in. Pop in your answers on Facebook and Instagram, Highland Hospital Radio. Simply Reds with Fairground there on Highland Hospital Radio. You are in for your Saturday drop-in with Shannon and Karen. So we had a couple of guesses as well. Mary, who is one of our ward visitors, has guessed on social media, Karen.
She's very close. You're very close,
1993
Mary.
was the guess, but the answer was 1995. So well done for anyone who got that right. Unfortunately, we don't offer prizes, but I think, you know, the whole getting it is good enough.
1 or 2 years out is pretty good.
Exactly. So we have a guest who has dropped in on today's show. Karen, would you like to introduce them?
Well, Susan, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what your role is?
Oh. I'm Susan Smith and I work at the Highland Hospice and I'm the Community Partnership Manager. So I work out in the community supporting services that are delivered in the community, both within Inverness, Wester-Ross and with our partners throughout the Highlands.
And what we're talking about today is a relatively recent service. It's less than 5, well, just before COVID it started, but then kind of COVID came along and it's sort of getting a resurgence now, would you say?
That's correct. So prior to COVID, we had contact from one of the nurses that was in the ward at Raigmore, and she was saying that occasionally, unfortunately, there are people who don't have anybody to sit with them, who are in the last period of their life. And they wondered if, because we did befriending support in the community, had we ever considered supporting people in hospital, particularly at this period in life. And she had heard about a service called No One Dies Alone.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time I came to meet with the staff to talk through what it is that they would be looking for and why that would be a valuable service. And I also spoke to the befrienders that we had at the time who were delivering befriending support, the volunteers, and asked was that something that they felt that they could extend into, be interested in. And thankfully the volunteers said yes. And it actually sounded like this was something that the hospice should be involved in. So we confirmed to the hospital that yes, we would take it further. And at that time I went down to Inverclyde, who were delivering the NODA service down in Inverclyde area. It was a service that was first, the concept of it first was thought of in, what year was it again, 2001, by a nurse that was in America who had been with somebody and she had to leave to go and do something, and when she came back that gentleman had died on his own. And being a nurse of many years myself, I'm aware of sometimes you're with people you do wish to stay there, but it's not always possible. You have to go and do something else, and it absolutely breaks our hearts if we come back and find that somebody was distressed or they needed you there and you weren't able to sit at them. So this service is to help the people themselves and also the ward or the community staff, you know, to know that somebody will be there.
And also for the families, because when I first thought about this, I thought about people without family.
Yes.
But there are also people who have family there, but you know, you need to go to the toilet, you need to go and get something to eat, you maybe need to just take an hour out to have a sleep, you know, so it's there for families as well who just need a bit of time out.
Yeah, you're right, Karen. It was primarily thought to be for somebody who was on their own, and it's not everybody would want that, so it's only for those people who that's something that they would like. They would like somebody to be sitting at their bedside. But it's also for, yes, family members who maybe they're here on their own and they need to go and take a break, you know, they need to go in for a sleep, or actually they're going to become unwell themselves. There are also quite a number of elderly people who are sitting and they just need to go and make sure that they're getting fed and watered and feeling that they worry if the nurse says, well, go away and, you know, I'll sit, and they can see how busy they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that although they want to be there, that might not be possible. So knowing that it's a volunteer and their only role is to be a companion at the bedside, that's much more reassuring. There's also some people occasionally when we've never really sat with a loved one who's been ill and who we know is going to be dying in the next while, and knowing that somebody can come and sit with you, so they can also sit with the person, just to be there, go and get them a cup of tea, just to have them with them for short periods, and that's sometimes very valuable.
And then I started thinking about the practicalities of it when I was in the car this morning, and I thought, right, so for the likes of us, like Shannon and I volunteering, we have, I mean, there are things that crop up, like when the station doesn't work.
Yeah,
There's
that was a
things
fun
like
one.
that. But we have set times. And you can't put a time on when someone's not got long left. So your volunteers, how does it work? Are they on a time rota, or do they just get a call, or how does it work?
Okay. So all of the volunteers that are doing the NODA just now, who have registered to become a NODA volunteer, are all currently delivering befriending support. So they're all supporting somebody. So they're already known through hospice and they work with us in that way. And they, in addition to having a regular person that they're supporting and going and seeing in the community, are available to come in and do NODA. So what we do, if a request comes in, we have a chat with the person, what they're looking for, and then we will decide that that's something that we can do, and we put out a WhatsApp message and an email to the volunteers, or a text message to them, and the volunteers then have a look at that, and it is amazing. That people usually come back within the next 15 minutes, because you're either available or you're not available. So it means that volunteers don't have to think that they're having to sit around waiting. They don't have to commit a long time beforehand, because people's lives change their stuff. But it's when a request comes in. I have not yet had any time when a request has come in that there's not been 2 or 3 volunteers that got back to say, I can help now, or I can help at this time. So sometimes the help's needed straight away. And at other times it's like over the next couple of days is when we're needing support. So they're anticipating that somebody's going to need support tomorrow. So the staff and the person are usually happy with any level of support we can do. So we can't do it for 24 hours, but we can give something. And at that period when we're going to be there, the staff then know they can go and do other things, comfortable that somebody's got somebody sitting with them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that there's so many people must feel better about it because of this, the family, the person, the staff, and also your volunteers. I mean, it's a real privilege to sit with someone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but for those that, you know, people come and ask to be NODA volunteer for all different reasons, but many of them have experienced having somebody that they've loved and know the value of being able to be at the bedside. And living in the Highlands, you know, if somebody's suddenly unwell, say at Raigmore or that, and you're in the Highlands, your family may not live here. And the ward staff may give you a call, and you would want to rush up, but you maybe have family commitments and things you need to do. And at that bit, even before you come, if you're able to then say, could I get a NODA volunteer? And somebody can sit with your mum or that, and then once the relative comes, the volunteers are no longer required, and you know that is absolutely fine. So yes, relatives find this absolutely just so reassuring and so comforting to know that when they're not able to be there, somebody else can in their stead. And staff, they know that somebody's with them and they can safely go on, and they don't need to be thinking every time they're doing something else. They can carry on with the other work they're doing, knowing that if there's a problem at the bedside, the volunteer will buzz for help and get the usual support that's there.
And this, because I was talking with my daughter about it this morning, because we were thinking a lot about it. Because I said to you earlier, she said, NODA, that sounds such a calm name. It sounds so nice. And, you know, it's not for everyone. So are a lot of ex-nurses, or is it all walks of life that you find?
No, it's all walks of life. Yes, there are some people who have done nursing that, you know, this sits in exactly with their skill set. But this is not about being a professional or having special skills. This is just about you being you, and you being somebody who's comfortable around somebody who is unwell, and feeling comfortable enough that you will give some of your time just to sit there. It's about companionship. Some of the people may be responsive and able to speak, but others of them may be unresponsive, and it's just about having that calming presence, about being there. We do give training for all of our volunteers at the Highland Hospice, and that includes NODA volunteers, and we do ongoing support for the volunteers so that when they've come across things, they can talk to each other as peer support, as well as speaking to ourselves who all work in the clinical area. You know, I was a registered nurse for, you know, all of my nursing career, so I'm able to, you know, support people when they've come across things. They might have questions and that in regards to what's happened when they've been sitting at the bedside.
That support is really impressive. Yeah, but then that's what the hospice is all about as well, isn't it? So yeah, I do have a couple of other questions. So how do people actually become a NODA volunteer? If it's something that appeals to them, or they think they might, but they're not quite sure?
Yeah. So we're very aware that sometimes it's one of that things some people know definitely, and they're just like, I want to be a NODA volunteer. And it's like, great, register through the usual way for the Highland Hospice, and you can get that information on the Highland Hospice website. You can register online. The volunteer department get back in touch with you. They explain the usual things to do with volunteer induction, and they put you in touch with the Learning Development Department. So they'll send you information about information days, NODA information days, and they're delivered every single month. So for these volunteers, they will then come to an information day, and they will just progress through that volunteer route until they're ready to, and to actually offer their volunteering. For people that are unsure, we usually say to them, come along to one of the information days, because the information days are there to tell you about NODA. It's only a couple of hours, and you just need to come to the very start of it, when it goes through what NODA is, what to expect, all about the role. You have opportunities asking your question in person, both to the team lead that's delivering the session, but also to other volunteers about that, because you're part of a team. You're not actually all on your own. We want you to feel you're part of the team. At the end of that, I must admit, most people do carry on to become NODA volunteers, but even if they don't, it's not a loss to me or anybody else at the hospice, because what we then have is somebody else that understands what we're trying to do, the service and support that we're trying to deliver out there. And within their own communities, they're then a resource that if you ever hear of somebody that's going, because it's one of that things, the hospice and the services that we deliver, they're not normally in your mind until you need them. And then it's when you need them, you need to know, who do I call? And this is the thing that we're trying to think of the hospice. How would people know? I mean, obviously our website has all of the information about all of the different services, including NODA. But the more people that we can just get that in the community, there's a slight awareness in the back of their mind. So if the word NODA comes up and somebody's speaking about somebody in their last bits of life and they're then thinking, oh, what support? They will consciously think, oh, the hospice, I think, have something about that. So that they can then go to that website or give us a phone call or that to find, is this something that we can help them with.
I went and had a read of an article that was in a local newspaper that you know all about, Shannon, and there was a local newspaper and I was reading about it, and initially I'd thought that the volunteers just kind of sat there in silence, but there's not. They maybe chat about the person's life and what they've been involved in, they maybe read them a book, they maybe look at photos together, so it's not just sitting there in silence at all, is it?
No, when they arrive in the ward or in the nursing home, because it's delivered in hospitals or nursing homes in Inverness and East Rossshire just now, but hopefully throughout the whole of the Highlands. So when they arrive, they will either speak to the ward manager or whoever's been caring for the person, just ask, is there anything specific to know about the person? And then when they're there at the bedside, yeah, it's so strange, because you would think that sitting with somebody, even somebody that's unconscious, that you're not doing anything, but that's not correct. You still sense when somebody's there, you can share about things, you know if talking is correct for that person because how they look, they're not grimacing, it just feels right. You can sense if somebody's annoyed with you, whether they're talking to you or not, and that's the same when somebody's unresponsive. You can tell whether what you're talking about or what you're doing is right. So sometimes it is about talking, sometimes it's about reading something, sometimes it's about sharing of your own self, sometimes it's about just sitting there quietly, sometimes it's about holding somebody's hand. It's different for different people, and the volunteers understand that, and they will go by the person who they're supporting, their needs.
I just think it sounds an amazing service. I'm really impressed with it, and I hope you'll come back and do be my guest with us at some point so that we can share this more often than just today.
Yeah, I think it would be really helpful for us to come and do be my guest, and I think I can put it in the context of the work then we're trying to do at the hospice, the varying ways that we're trying to support people in the community and work in partners alongside all the other health and social care services that are delivering support to people with palliative needs, because that's the important thing, that we're working together with others.
What I've learned over the last year is the number of charities that work closely with other charities, and with other sectors, with the health sector and things like that. It's opened up my eyes.
It really
quite a bit.
has. And, you know, we're part of that very small cog in a massive machine, just making sure that people know as much information should they need it in the future, just if they're in hospital or if they've found something that's not ideal.
And we should
We're
get
here.
a PSA made up as well, so that
Definitely.
yeah.
We can definitely get something sorted. I know someone who can do that. So amazing. So what we'll do is we'll go into a quick break and we'll be back just after.
So this is Highland Hospice Radio. It's Karen and Shannon here for the Saturday drop-in, and I am sitting beside Susan from the hospice, and we've been talking about NODA, No One Dies Alone, which is one of the services that the hospice provides. And I have a couple more questions, Susan, just to finish off. How do people actually apply for support?
Okay. So when we first initially tried to introduce NODA back in 2020, we were taking requests for support from the professionals themselves, from anybody within the healthcare setting. However, we recognise that the healthcare professionals are very busy, they've got lots of other things to do, and because the hospice, we want our services to be open as widely as possible. That what we've done with the NODA is made that people themselves, so family members, can request support as well as healthcare professionals. So if we get a call or an email sent from a healthcare professional, we will progress that. But equally, if we get a call from a family member or that, we will speak to them about why they're looking for support, what the support is, and we'll check with them if they've already spoken to the hospital, and if they have, that's fine. If they haven't, we'll ask their permission for us just to contact the hospital to check that it's correct, that we should be trying to provide the NODA support for this person, because the NODA support is really for people in the last period of life. So you're looking at people that the staff would not be surprised if they were to die within the next 24 to 72 hours, 48, 72 hours. And so it's really the staff that we need to check that that's correct, that they're thinking of that, and that the person would have given consent for us to have been at the bedside should they feel that this service is required. So when we get the request and we've clarified that the person meets the criteria, the next thing that we do is we confirm that we will look to see if we can have any NODA volunteers out there able and available to deliver support. So we put out requests to the volunteers. In our experience, they usually come back within the next quarter, half an hour, but they'll come back. We have an electronic rota that they can self-populate and say, you know, the rota, the times that they're able to do. Some are coming in for a couple of hours, some will come in for 2 to 4 hours. We usually just say 4 hours as a maximum is plenty to be sitting at the bedside, and they will populate that. And we will then get back to the ward staff to say, this is the times that we're able to do. Are these the ones that are working for you? So staff then get a list of the volunteers' names that will be visiting, along with their telephone numbers. The volunteers then go to the ward at their appointed time. They go and they introduce themselves either to the ward manager in the hospital or the nursing home and explain that they're there as a NODA volunteer. They all have badges on that identify them as a NODA volunteer. The ward staff will then say if there's anything particular they need to note. So if they've been worried that somebody's just had pain medicine, and if they were uncomfortable, they'd want them to be buzzed to help, or things like that, they will tell the NODA volunteer. The NODA volunteer then just spends time at the bedside. If they're worried at all, or there's anything, just like you as a family member would do, they would buzz for a nursing staff member to come and attend to the person. So they're there just the same as any other visitor, and they would spend time doing whatever's required at that time, just to be a companion. At the end of their time, they then just say goodbye to the ward staff, and they would say if they had any concerns or any questions, and then each person that's booked to visit that person would book. Occasionally, maybe a relative will come, because they've now fixed everything and they can come, or something changes and the service is no longer required. The ward staff, if it's out with office hours, will phone the volunteers direct to cancel the next volunteers that are booked to come. But if it's in hours, they phone us at the hospice and we would cancel future shifts. At the end of an episode of supporting somebody, the hospice manager would give the ward a check and just check that it was satisfactory, it went well for the ward staff, and that what they needed, we have met that need. And we also phone our volunteers just to check that they're quite comfortable, there's no concerns raised or that, because it can be a challenging time as well. And at that time we would also, if it had been a relative that had phoned and made a request, we would give a telephone call just to check that they were happy with what we had delivered, and if there was any further questions that they had.
I'm just thinking, you think, wow, all this is going on without being aware.
It's amazing.
Yeah, just listening to it.
It's like, you know how people say it's like a swan, they're like nice and calm, and then underneath it's just the little legs going.
All these things going, all this organisation.
Yeah.
Just so impressed. And finally, how does someone become a NODA volunteer? How do they apply?
So people, if they're interested in becoming a volunteer, can go onto the hospice website, and on that you will find a volunteer page. It explains about the different services, and one of the services it will explain about is the NODA support. And on that you can just click a link and it will take you to an online form that you will fill in, and you can express your interest of doing the NODA volunteering on that application form. If you're someone that just thinks, I'm not sure about it, you can just give the hospice a telephone call on 01463 227901, and you will speak to one of the clinical administrators, and she will put you through to the correct department for actually just coming along to one of the information sessions and finding out more about it before you make an application to become a volunteer.
Thank you so much for coming along. We have learnt so much, haven't we?
We really have. Again, thank you so much. What I'll do is I'll quickly repeat that phone number for the hospice. So it's 01463 227 901 if you want to join one of the information days.
And we'll definitely do a Be My Guest in that. Definitely.
Yes. We'll keep in touch, Susan.
Thank
you
you
so
very
much for
much.
coming in. We've got Kylie Minogue on the way before your second hour of the Saturday Drop-In. And that's Marvin Gaye. I heard it through the grapevine. You're in your second hour of the Saturday Drop-In with myself, Shannon. Susan and Karen have shut off for the day. And thank you very much for Susan to talking about No One Dies Alone service as a part of the Highland Hospice. So you just stuck with me, unfortunately, which means that one thing is happening. Beat Detective is on its way. It's a way of critically hiding what song we are playing at the end of the show. I'll also tell you what's happening for the rest of the day as well. And make sure you're getting in your song requests. It is studio@hhr.scots. As I said, Beat Detective on the way. Just about 10 past sort of time. But we've got some Freddie Mercury and Tom Grennan on the way as well. Barcelona, Freddie Mercury there on your Saturday Drop-In. So, what is the Drop-In all about? Basically, what it's all about is we open the doors to Rigmore and we just have a lot of fun. If you're in doing a visit, you're working, maybe you've popped round to get a quick cup of coffee, doors open, come say hi, I am here for another hour, so you might as well come in, and you can get your song requests on as well. So it's studio@hhr.scot. We have a plethora of great music that we can play for you guys. Speaking of music as well, in the start of March, so we're 2 weeks down now, and I think tables are no longer available. I'm not sure. Oh, we're very, very short, but we are looking for what they're called. Completely forgotten what they're called. Basically, raffles and auction items for our 32nd annual music quiz on Friday the 7th of March. Just remember, if you guys have booked in, it is £30 per team. You can pay in advance as well, a maximum of 4 in each team as well, and come up with a really good quiz name. We should really have like an award for who's good at quizzing, essentially. Yep, so that is available, but we are looking for raffle and auction prizes. If you are a business owner or know a business that would like to get involved, again, studio@hhr.scot if you are interested in donating something. Really appreciated. All the donations go to HHR, Highland Hospital Radio, and an amazing night as well. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there, but it's just a good couple of hours and really tricky questions as well. We've got some lovely quiz people that are going to be available for you as well. So yeah, definitely worth a come along if you can. If you booked in, thank you very much for booking in. So we are going to be moving on. We've got a quick break and then we'll be talking about what happened yesterday for my Valentine's muck-up, shall we say. So music from Mark Ronson and Amy Winehouse on the way just after this. Sorry about that. So sorry, I was just chatting to Pat. Pat's popped along. How are you getting on?
I'm on. Just
Yeah.
come in to check that everything's going okay.
You heard that the system broke, so you've come in to tell me off. Is that right?
Well, the system I used to do is so different, and the technology now is absolutely amazing. You're doing a wonderful job.
Bless
you really
you.
are.
That's sweet of
it's
you.
Really good, yeah.
Well, you've come in just on a good time because we've got a game coming up just now.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
So the idea is that we're playing Beat Detective.
Uh-huh.
So what it is I've critically hidden a song and an artist. This week's 2 artists.
Yes.
Within a couple of riddles that we popped up on Facebook and Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And then if you guess it, that is the song for the end of the show.
Be a miracle. I'm the golden oldie team.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They're as knowledgeable as me. So what we'll do then is we'll tell the audience about what the cryptic clues are. So 2 artists this time. So it's 2 and 2. A craftsman's namesake and a towering tree. One spins the beats and the other sings free. It's a hard one, this one.
Say that again.
So a craftsman's namesake and a towering tree. One spins the beats and the other sings free. I rhymed it this week. I never really rhyme it, but I thought,
I was thinking
it's
of
a hard one.
an old Christmas song, but it's not that.
Unfortunately, it's not a Christmas song. I don't think Tom would allow us to play a Christmas song in the middle of February. But you might get it from the song. So the song is 2 words. A universal bond that unites us all, spreading like roots from the past to the future. I couldn't figure out how to rhyme that one. So a universal bond that unites us all, spreading like roots from the past to the future. It's a hard one. It's a hard one this week. Tom keeps getting them quite easy, and I'm like, no, I want people to think about this one. I'll give you a clue. Valentine's Day was yesterday.
Oh.
So it's sort of coming in from doing something along the lines of what Valentine's means for some people.
Love me or leave me.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely love you, Pat, won't we? So this is available on Facebook and Instagram. So it is on Highland Hospital Radio for both of them if you need to have a quick look. Comment your answer as well. Or you can email us the answer as well. It is studio@hhr.sca. I'm going to keep on going with the Valentine's Day thing, perhaps, because I did a bit of a muck-up. It was my year to do Valentine's Day last night. And I mucked up just a little bit, but it was enough to sort of have an interesting effect afterwards. Right. Anyway, we'll be moving on. We have got a bit of S Club 7 in. I thought I'd go back to the 90s a little bit. Late 90s, early noughties. So, S Club 7 is on the way just now. And that's Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely, on the Saturday drop-in. Now, just a while ago, I was just saying how I had a bit of a Valentine's Day muck-up. So, myself and my partner Ben, we do sort of alternate sort of years. So we have one person deal with Valentine's Day and then the next year someone else deals with it. So yesterday was my year. So I was like, I'll make a nice dinner, like a proper, really nice dinner. So I was like, I'll make a ragu. Because a ragu is quite nice. So it's like, you know, nice to have, but it takes like 2.5 hours to make when you make it from scratch. So the idea is it's sort of like a tomato base with like meats, veggies, a bit of pasta as well. Very nice. Of course, I forgot to put the tomatoes in at the start. So we basically had meat and tatties, minus the tatties, but add pasta. But I thought it still tasted nice. What do you think, Pat?
Very
Would
tasty.
you have my ragu?
Oh, I certainly would. And what did you have to drink afterwards?
Oh, we had a bottle of wine.
Oh, quite blinking
Nice
yes.
bit of red. Just to celebrate.
Non-alcoholic. Oh, red, yes.
A bit red.
Yes.
Bit red. I
Good
wish
for
it was.
your blood.
It is, yeah, very much. Drink away for the facts as well. But yeah, honestly, it was a lovely evening. It's been a while since we've done like a proper Valentine's Day just sitting. We played a lot of 2-player games as well. So we had like lots of our like video games are 2-player that we don't normally get to play, so it was nice to
nice just to
sit down
yes,
as well.
right, yes.
Obviously, you know, if you are in the hospitals as well, we hope that you still celebrated Valentine's in a very special way as well, whether it was listening in to us or you had someone visit for you for the day. And I also got flowers this year. That hasn't happened for 3 years.
Yes. Well, I
Not like I've been counting, but
I got a lovely surprise last night.
All right.
10:30. I was just ready to have my cocoa and my toast and put my pyjamas on.
Yeah.
Creature comfort, as you any old folks out there know. And there's a knock on the door, and I always lock my door at night because I live in the country in a little wood, surrounded by trees, like in fact a forest. So I'm all on my own in that little country house. So anyway, I locked the door. I thought, who the devil's this time of night? So I thought, oh well, I'm in my pajamas. So I went and said, who's that? And then the person outside said, it's Elvis. Oh, that's a special one because it's my son's.
Oh,
I know
see.
It's him.
Yeah.
So in he came with a beautiful bunch of roses for Mama.
Oh, that's very nice.
So he said, there you are, Mama. You'll always be my Valentine.
Oh.
I thought that was lovely. I was going to give him a row. It's kind of late at night, but I was so delighted. So then the only thing, the problem with the flowers was you normally get the stuff to put in it to keep the
like the flower feed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was missing.
Oh, no.
So a little tip for anyone out there that doesn't get this special liquid, take a spoonful of sugar and pop it in.
Oh,
stir it
sugar,
round,
right.
And it does just the same. It rejuvenates them and they last longer.
Oh, I see.
So
when my feed runs out, I've got to pop some sugar in the vase.
Yes.
Oh, right, okay, there we go. More facts from Pat later on then.
The young learn from the old.
It is
and
very
the old
true.
learn from the young.
That is very, very true. And we're just about to finding out who is going to be coming up after the drop-in.
Time for a song now.
Time for a song?
Yep.
Are we doing a song?
Yep.
All right, let's have a look and see what we have got. We've got some Ronnie Ray on the way. How's that sound?
Oh, yep.
We'll have a listen and we'll do a review afterwards. What do you think?
Which is this one, Don't Speak?
Don't Speak, so that's No Doubt. So No Doubt we're sort of early noughties group.
Because I tell you, I go to the rock choir, and one of them is Don't Speak.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the one.
That is
It'll
the
be
one,
the same
and
one.
I know exactly what it's about.
Perfect. So we'll have a listen to those people, and we'll come back and we'll tell you what's happening for the rest of the day. And that's No Doubt. Don't Speak there. Cheers, Pat, for popping in. Did not expect that she'd be in, I'll be honest with you, otherwise I would have been mentally prepared for that. But this is the Saturday drop-in. I will give you the Beat Detective. So what I've done is I have cryptically hidden a song and an artist. That will be the last song that will play on the Saturday drop-in. So we'll reveal that in the next 20 minutes or so. So for Beat Detective, it was... 2 artists, 2 and 2, a craftsman's namesake for a towering tree. One spins the beat and the other sings free. The song is 2 words. It's a universal bond that unites all, spreading like roots from the past to the future. If you have an idea, pop it on Facebook. It is Highland Hospital Radio, or it's Highland Hospital Radio on Instagram as well. And that will be the last song that we will play. But what I will do just now as well is tell you what's happening for the rest of the day. After 2 p.m, we have amazing shows, such as the musical hour at 2 p.m. So if you're into your musicals and want to get on stage, you can do that at 2 p.m. with Karen. On 3 o'clock, it is On the Level. So Dougie Burns brings in a amazing guest every single week. Lots of acoustic sessions. You learn a lot about sort of the local music that is played throughout the Highlands as well. At 4 o'clock, we have Please Don't Take Them Away. This is your second half on Learn About the Things About Pirate Radio Days. In 5 o'clock, you've got Ian and Terry back for all new Golden Oldies. So they take you back to the same time this month, many years ago. And it is the year that Highland Hospital Radio started off back in 1970. So at 5 p.m, listen to them. There's a quiz as well. So obviously, it's Terry and Ian, let's be real. So at 6 p.m. is Be My Guest. So that's when we invite a member of the community or a charity to come and speak about the work that they do to support the NHS Highland area. And this week it is Karen with Spokes for Folks. At 7 p.m, it is the Rock and Roll Hour, so that's Mike Goodbrown. It's coming back for some rock and roll hits from the 50s and 60s, as well as some contemporary hits as well. And at 8 o'clock, it is Live at 8, your guaranteed live hour for the evening. Pop in your requests. It is studio at hhr.scot and get them up and running. 9 o'clock is Saturday Showcase, so David and George brings you this week's latest releases and new music, plus some classic tracks as well. 10 p.m. is World Live and Early, which with the wonderful Rob, which brings you an enlightening selection of the world's music. And then at 11 p.m, it's Richard Smith with A to Z of pop. And this week it is the letter C. So we will be having a quick break, play some Leanne Rimes, and then I will reveal Beat Detective just after this. And that's Leanne Rimes with We Can on your Saturday drop-in. We've got the last 10 minutes of the show. So thank you very much for everyone having a listen in. If you weren't here at the start, do not worry. hhr.scot/catch up after the show. And you can just listen back to everything that we had up to for that. So we had Karen in for the first hour, and then the wonderful Susan Smith from the Highland Hospice talking about the No One Dies Alone service that is available should you need it. I'll quickly repeat the number for the hospice if you want to look and getting involved. It's 01463 227 901. Me and Tom will be back next week for the Saturday drop-in, and we're talking about cyber awareness because we're all digital now. We want to make sure you guys are safe when you are listening in. Guess the Year, Beat Detective, and This or That will return. I have noticed that because Pat came in, I totally forgot to do This or That, but I don't think she'd be up for doing Chickens or Dickens. I think I'll keep that for next week. And let's talk about our Beat Detective. It seemed to be a hard one this week. So I'll quickly repeat it before I play the song. It was 2 artists, 2 and 2, a craftsman's namesake and a towering tree. One spins the beats and the other sings free. The song was 2 words again, a universal bond that unites us all, spreading like roots from past to the future. I gave you a tip as well, or a quick clue. It was Valentine's Day yesterday, so I've done a quick sort of second half of the show all about love. Well done for anyone who got it right. It was a tricky one. This is Love Generation, Bob Sinclair and Gary Pine. An amazing song, shall we say, as well. So thank you very much for anyone who was listening in. We really appreciate it. We'll be back again for Saturday drop-in at midday next week, talking about cyber awareness. You've got the musical hour as well, just after the show. Keep listening in, hhr.scot, and you're live at 8 as well. We'll be at 8 p.m. It is studio@hhr.scot if you'd like a request. I'll see you next week for Saturday drop-in.